Hi there, I'm Euge Valovirta. I am very proud to present you my second IR pack. Let's listen a song first where I'm using Marshall JCM 800 aka the bad boy, another 800 aka the little brother for distorted sounds, and a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier aka Lord Vader for clean sounds. And I'm using IRs from this new pack. After the song, let's go through the mix, compare them to the real caps, and then I'll dive a little bit deeper and play some, overdriven clean stuff with the aforementioned amps and with the IRs. Rock and roll. Alright, so this is the mix. There's a rhythm guitar cabinet bass, rhythm guitar IR bass, clean guitar cabinet bass, clean guitar IR bass, and then leads are just here because it's one track of each. So let's listen the IRs and then I'll switch into the cabinets. You already heard the IRs when I on the song, but yeah. So there's a little bit difference, but I think the difference is to the IR's advance. The clean and lead, to me, when listening here, it sounded basically identical. Lead on the rhythms, there's more difference because there's more like so the cabinet sounded a little bit more like there was a little it wasn't as refined as the IR. Let's solo these and let me show you. You maybe hear it better when the guitars are soloed. So now this is the real cabinet first. Honestly, there's not really a difference. Like, the difference is non-existent, or if there's any, it's definitely not meaningful. So I'm really happy because, you know, first and foremost, I made this to myself so that I can use this because, you know, I have 3 different cabinets. On my first IR pack, there's another Marshall cabinet, which you can see there, and the Boogie cabinet. Those are 8 ohm cabinets. This BX cabinet is 16 ohm. So whenever I've decided to switch cabinets, I need to, you know, set the ohms and change the micings and stuff. But now, when I have all the sounds, the cabs, the speakers I use every day, well, every week on my productions. Now let's say if I have this cabinet mic'd or the other cabinet there mic'd and I want to use a Greenback or EVH speaker, I don't need to anymore do the hassle. I can just use the IR because they are identical. Honestly, it's awesome, and the processing is the same on both buses, exactly the same. So there is Soothe, which takes just a tiny bit of upper, you know, frequency build up away. Multiband compressor. Let's actually let me show you this. You know, so the multiband compressor changes the palm Euge a little bit. And then there's what I always do. I don't like 3K and 6K on anything, especially on double guitars, because they build up. And then I did a little, you know, dynamic EQ on the 150 Hertz. Those just build up. When I use these IRs alone, when I play, I'm not bothered at all, but then immediately when there's doubles or quads, those just, my ears are really sensitive to those, and they just build up. And then I did a little bit of EQing, so let me bypass this whole chain, and there's not much difference. Just taking a little bit top and, you know, bottom out, adding a little bit of 12K, taking dB away of 5K, taking 1.5 again because they build up at 500, and that's it. There's a small amount of compression on this bus, but it shows more that the light isn't even blinking, but it brings the guitars a bit more forward. Barely see the light blinking at 3 dB of compression, and then there's my usual effects. I'll probably do another video of what I always do, but basically there's a little bit of Dimension D just to widen them, and then a guitar room and a tiny bit of reverb, and this AMS cross delay on the rhythm guitars. It's very subtle, it just basically widens them up. The lead guitars, it's the usual H3000 to widen the mono guitar a little bit. Then 2 delays, dual delay, which is a Lexicon Van Halen setting. This amount of left, this amount of right. And then the another delay is, this is Lexicon PCM20 circular delays, what I did. I've done a video of this too. This is exactly like the PCM here. I use this for monitoring, because this isn't AX DSP, so I can't monitor this with 0 latency, but with this I can, because the hardware inserts in Pro Tools HDX system, there's no latency, which is great. And then this one here, you might hear this end. That ping pong delay, that is TC Electronics 2290 plugin. Oh yeah, I almost forgot clean guitars. There's bunch of delays and reverbs. So this is the clean guitars without any effects. Let's listen it again. So there's Dimension D chorus, SPX90 Symphony chorus, 3 chorus, 3 choruses, H3000 micro pitch, straight delay, dual delay, circular delay, no ping pong, no AMS delay, no guitar room, and then there's 2 reverbs. There's this basic reverb, kind of wide chamber. This is a Braidworks Lexicon PCM60 plugin. I like Lexicons. And then the shimmer, that almost synth-like reverb. That's a Valhalla shimmer reverb. So yeah, a lot of kind of 80s lush clean sound. And that IR, that's a Marshall GB25 with 57 SSL 4K EQ. The other is EVH, the right side, EVH speaker, 57 SSL 4K EQ. And the rhythm guitars were left side EVH, same 57 SSL 4K EQ. Right side was a Greenback, 25 SSL 4K EQ. Here you can see the amplifiers, what I used. Left one was Bad Boy, right one was Little Brother. And the clean guitars, those I used dual rectifier, clean channel. And I had a chorus already on the way in front of the amp. So there was little chorus already on the way in. The leads were both with the Bad Boy and with the EVH cabinet speaker and the EVH IR. Alright, so that was it. So the IRs are like my real cabinets. I use the SSL 4K, tiny bit of EQing on the way in. On the package you will get also all the IRs without the EQ, so it's just the SSL preamp. But I like to take a little bit, refine the sound on the way in. And then sometimes I don't really need to do any EQing, and sometimes I need to do just tiny moves so that the guitars fit in the mix. That is any given mix. But many times my small EQ works without basically doing anything. Maybe taking out some bottom and some top. Because again, double squats, you know, things tend to build up. Okay, now let me grab my guitar and I'll show you the different IRs with these 3 amplifiers. Alright, so now the signal chain. This is a Warmouth Strat I put together myself. Original Floyd Rose Duncan Distortion DiMarzio Area 58. Into the pedal board and I'm going to use Bus SD1 and Bus C5 Chorus as my pedals. Now we are using the bad boy, the JCM 800, and the signal goes from the amps to the KHE amp switcher, then to the power station, and I have now bypassed the cabinet is down, so I'm not hearing any sounds from another room. And then there's a direct out to the audio interface, which is Pro Tools Carbon in my case. And then, you know, I have this Lancaster Audio's Pulse on my desktop. And the IR, what we are using now, it's Marshall cabinet, EVH speaker, mic with a 57, SSL 4000 revival here with the EQ on. Sounds like this. And this was the exact sound I used on the left side of the mix, the left rhythm guitar and the lead, the solo. Then we have the option without the EQ, which is a little quark and a little bit more. Whoa, you listen. And now there's nothing, just the mic and the mic pre only on the SSL. With my small EQ, it's a tiny bit more refined. And then the right rhythm guitar, that was the little brother, which has EL34s in the power section. The bad boy has 6550s. It sounds like this. So, two JCM 800s, they sound a little bit different, same cabinet but different speakers. So this is a Greenback speaker, mic with a 57, SSL 4K EQ, and again I show you without the EQ. There's a little woo and a little key. And what is the most important? One of the most important things to me, there's the woof, you know, the cabinet, because so many IRs, what I've tried before, to me, it just sounds like a speaker, like the speaker is here. That's not a good guitar sound, in my opinion. I want to hear the cabinet, because the cabinet plays a big part also in the sound. You put this Greenback into, let's say, to another Marshall cabinet I've tried, it sounds a little bit different, and it sounds a lot different, this speaker, in the Mesabuki cabinet. So the speaker plays a big part in the sound, as does the cabinet. So that's why I wanted to capture the cabinet, the woof, that it's not like here, but it's 3D, like woof, the air is moving. Well, now the air is moving in a digital form, but still, it sounds like the air is moving. Okay, and then, you know, let's stick with this, or actually let's change the amp. So this is the rectifier, clean channel, channel 1 with the Boss CE5 in front, neck pickup, and the same speaker, Greenback. With the EVH, it sounds like this. A little bit different, and when you put those to the sides, you get really nice blend of both speakers and big sound. And yeah, the guitar is in E flat, and the E string is dropped, so it's drop D flat. Okay, let's go back to the bad boy. And now we can, you know, blend stuff. So what you get is you get a folder with 57s and 3 different sample rates. These are just to match whatever is your session. I record and mix in 48. So there's you know, 4 IERs with and without EQ, and then there's Royer, same speakers with the Royer. Then there's 57 blends. I did blends what I have used with the real cabinet, because I have this radials mixed 2 to 1, so I can blend the speakers. They are perfectly phase aligned. So I'm usually many times blending here the speakers, what goes to the audio interface, to recording. So I can have 2 speakers, blend of 2 speakers on one mono track, which is great. So these blends I've done with this. So I was playing some of my mixes, productions, and just kind of match the whatever I was using with the blend. So you get different blends here. These first 2, these are basic like 50-50, and here it's more EVH, less greenback, and here is more greenback, less EVH. Then you have my Royer blend, 57 Royer blends. I don't use the Royer that much with Marshall cabinets because they have a lot of woof. I usually use the Royer with the Mesa Boogie cabinet, with the V30s, because the Mesa Boogie cabinet doesn't have as much woof, even though it's oversized, but it doesn't have as much woof as the Marshalls. Woof, I mean woof. So the Royer kind of brings a little bit muscle to the sound. So that's what I captured. I did these too, because sometimes you might want to have the Royer, because the Royer doesn't just add lows, it just also adds highs. Because the Royer is basically flat, almost flat from 20 Hertz to 20,000 Hertz, whereas 57 is much more mid-focused. So you get a little bit of low and a little bit of more smooth ribbon mic top end with the Royer to your sound, if you want. So, but this is now the Royer, so let's blend that in. You can see from the EQ that Royer has a nice this. There's the goosebumps. And it kind of smoothens the upper mids too. There's like a sweet spot where I do the blend with these, with the real cabinets. There. Now there's a lot mids, and then we can just a tiny bit. Like you hear, there's quite a bit of low end, so I usually use just the 57 with the Marshall. But if you have a thin sounding guitar or thin sounding amp, you can add more woof with the Royer. Okay, then let's check out some blends. So the first one is a 50-50 blend here. So this is almost like the rhythm sound, you know, left, right, and this is just 50-50 both. This is great. Okay, then blend without the EQ. Again, there's a little bit that 500, which I'm checking out a little bit with the SSL EQ. Then main is EVH, so there's a little bit more EVH. Same with without the EQ, and then this is more greenback. These blends are really good. Yeah, I mean everything is good because I made it to myself, and I hope you will enjoy these too. Okay, and then the fourth folder. This is the 57 Royer blend. So first is the EVH. So this blend is pretty much like what I did here. So it's kind of like here. So these are blended now individually, and this is the blend that is, you know, if you have an IR loader that can only take one IR and you want to have the blend, here's the blend. And then the blade without EQ. The low one is a little boo boo boo, but this is, you know, if you want to do your own EQ completely. And this is a greenback with a Royer. And all the 57s, I didn't do any. It's the sweet spot to me. To me, every speaker has a sweet spot, and you know, it differs. On the EVH, the sweet spot was pretty much straight to the edge of the dust cap. On the greenback, which has a bit more, it was a little towards the outer side of the speaker, so it wasn't. It was like a little bit like this. And then when I find the sweet spot, it's not just where it's like less high end, less low end, more low end. When I find the place, there is like, if you go too far, I feel there's something strange. Yes, it's gonna get darker, but there's something strange happening in the low end, like phasing and stuff. If it's too center, then it's just a high end, and I don't want. So the sweet spot to me is, I move it outside, or I start at the edge of the dust cap. Then I find the place where I can kind of hear that the speaker sounds the purest. So there's no like anything strange going on in the low and the top. It's just the sweet spot. So that's why there's only the sweet spot. There's only good IRs. There's no, like, you know, I believe in quality instead of quantity, and I don't want to give you any mediocre IRs that I wouldn't, or mic positions that I'm not gonna use. I'm not gonna use those. I don't use those. I use just the best spot, and it's different with every speaker. So yeah, that's what you get, and they all sound great. Thanks for watching. Hopefully, you know, this was informative and interesting. The first IR pack, it has been a huge success, I must say. Me and Joseph from Strange Angles, we knew that they were good. We liked them and loved them, but it has become pretty apparent that many other people think so too. So thank you all who have purchased that. Links to Straight Angle's website in the description below. There's the IR Pack 2, IR Pack 1, and there's also links on that same page to my hard hitters packs. But don't confuse those with the IR pack. These IRs are WAV files, so they work on anything. The hard hitters packs are full captures on my rigs, and those are made for neural DSPs, quad cortex, nano, mini cortex, it's the same. Kemper, XFX, Tonex, NAM, Line 6 Helix. So those are the full capture packs. So these IRs pack, these two, 1 and 2, they work on anything. And there's also a version that works with XFX because it uses some other typology than WAV files. So yeah, there we go. Thanks for watching, links in the description below, and hey, let me know what you think about these. And if you have done some recordings and whatnot, I'm very interested in hearing what you guys can come up with my cabinets in the digital form. Until next time, all the best, take care, bye.